The day has come, and I think this is the biggest coin release in Australian history. Today marks the release of the new red poppy coin. I'm not even sure I'll bother mentioning the other new releases from the mint in this video. I'll put some links in the description, but the focus will be squarely on the new red poppy coin. In 2012, the Royal Australian Mint came out with what was a new and exciting coloured $2 coin. It was the first of its kind. Well, not actually the first. The Royal Australian Mint borrowed the technology from the Royal Canadian Mint, but that's probably something for another video. So the total mintage figures for the original coloured $2 coins were 503,000 for the standard circulating issue, and there were 40,902 of the C mint mark variety. The C mint mark actually stands for Canberra, and that was a stamp that was placed on the coins that were issued in a particular presentation card as well. Fast forward 10 years and we are at the anniversary, the 10-year anniversary of that particular coin release. And I must say I was a little bit excited thinking that there would be a big anniversary coin released, but I guess it's not really a huge surprise. The Mint have released the exact same coin. The only difference is the portrait of Queen Elizabeth. So we have the Jodie Clark obverse. Other than that, the coin remains exactly the same. So this is effectively the third time the same coin has been issued. The other time that this coin was reissued was in 2018, and this was for the anniversary set, in which a number of the original coloured $2 coins were reissued in a presentation card set. So without including the 2018 release, this issue brings up the total, I guess you could say, available poppy community by approximately 11%. And I don't believe that will be enough to have any kind of major impact on the price. I think we're in a period, also I need to preface all of this, none of this is in any way financial advice. This is purely one guy informing and entertaining you, I hope. So I don't want anyone to take this as any kind of financial advice or make any investments based on what I'm saying here. It's purely for entertainment. So I don't think, based on this new volume coming out into the market, that we'll see any kind of major adjustments to the price. I think we'll see a truckload of media influence. There'll be news stories on this coin. A lot of misinformation will begin spreading around. There'll be confusion between C mint marks, the original 2012, the 2018, the 2022, and it will cause a lot of headaches for dealers. There'll be a lot of emails that take people a lot of time to get through and answer. I'm sure I'm not that big of a dealer, but there'll be plenty of emails and things like that that I'll be fielding as well. But having said that, it's a fascinating time to be in the industry. I'm not by any means complaining. I'll let you in on my thoughts on this particular release and have a bit of a waffle, as it were. So let's continue. So I should elaborate on why I don't think there will be a major impact on the price action of this particular coin. The reason being, most of the people, in my experience, there are a lot of collectors out there, what I refer to as genuine collectors, that just want one of each of the coins that come out, and they build up their collection over time, and that's great. It would be, in a perfect world, that's how everyone would collect. However, that is obviously not the case, and a lot of the inquiries that I've been fielding and a lot of the other dealers I speak with, people wanting 10, 20, 30, over 100 of the new coloured $2 coin. And it's probably at this point that I should also outline my total allocation of this particular coin, being a relatively small dealer, was 15. So I only have 15 of these coins. If you're wanting to get these from Thompson's Coins, you will have great difficulty. At this point in the video, they're probably already all gone. However, I would encourage you to go directly to the Mint for this particular release, or one of the large dealers in the dealer network, because you'll probably find all of the small-time dealers. It was almost, and it did cross my mind, it was almost not worth getting because of the issues that it would potentially cause. But I figured I would get whatever I could and do my best to service my customer base as best I could. But I think in this instance, this is one that is just going to be a bit of an anomaly on the release schedule for the Mint. I don't think we generally see releases quite this popular and this talked about either. I also believe that there is a bit of a misconception on the role of the Royal Australian Mint. I think a lot of people are under the impression that the Mint exists to serve the collecting community, whereas that's actually not true. The Mint are a government organisation and their role is to produce circulating currency for Australia, which they do. And in addition to that, they're actually a for-profit business. So the collector coins that they produce and sell at an increased price beyond the face value, that's actually for profit for the government. They don't actually, and I don't mean for this to sound negative or it's not even a dig at the Mint, it's purely an observation and it's a fact. They are a business and they produce these coins to make money. And I think a lot of people get confused by that, and with the way they release coins and the way they distribute them and things like that. But I've got to take my hat off and give credit where credit's due. They have a very popular product and they are marketing it and selling it, and it does create issues for the dealer network, of which I'm now in a very small capacity a part of. I'm not by any stretch a big time dealer, or I'm not even a big deal in the industry in that sense. So and I wouldn't speak on behalf of other dealers, but I can see how it becomes problematic when the vast majority of these coins end up being sold directly through the Mint, which they are absolutely entitled to, and as a business, it's completely fine. There's nothing inherently problematic in doing that. However, the problems do begin to occur in the dealer network when certain dealers may be used to having a larger allocation. That is to say, let's say for example, there's a dealer who normally gets 1,000 of this type of release, and then all of a sudden in the lead up to this, they might only get 100, and they have, let's just say in this example's sake, they have 1,000 consistent customers that are continually buying those types of releases from them. All of a sudden, they find themselves in a very difficult position when they need to effectively determine whose collection gets filled and whose doesn't. And that's absolutely not a position that I envy at all. I think it puts a great deal of pressure and strain on the collector and dealer relationship, and that's something that is disappointing to see, and I hope that that's something that everyone can get past and continue to enjoy the great hobby of collecting, but something worth observing, I think. Another thing that's worth sparing a thought for, and something that I had encountered on multiple occasions when managing coin shops, both in Melbourne and Sydney, is the collectors that aren't necessarily either tech savvy or on the front foot with new releases. That is to say, they're not always frequenting their local coin shop or active in the social media areas where these types of things are discussed. And it's a little disappointing to know that there will be many genuine collectors that miss out as a result of the level of hype. So I don't know what the answer is or what the balance is in terms of releases like these and then genuine collectors that may not have access or be tech savvy. Basically, there are a lot of members of the community that are a little older and really do love and have a passion for collecting, but aren't necessarily up with Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, this kind of thing. And it's a little disappointing to know that there are a number of people out there that won't be able to get access to something like this. And I hope that doesn't deter them from the hobby of collecting. Another sad little anecdote for you. This is becoming quite a doom and gloom. I'll turn it up towards the end. I'll come home with a positive final message. But something that's disappointing is seeing collectors firsthand, and I'm talking about my lived experience in person, collectors that end up giving the hobby away during a time like this when there is a really hyped up release. They're unable to get it, and that deters them from pursuing a collection. And I think that's really disheartening when you hear about that, and I hope that's not the case with this particular release. My personal approach to this type of thing, being a collector that has missed out on, I couldn't quantify how many things I've missed out on in my collecting journey, but I always have a positive mindset and believe that, you know, as one door closes, another opens. The money I didn't spend on a certain release, I end up spending on something else and getting enjoyment from it. I really do hope that people are able to possibly even look towards other collections to put together. You know, there are other denominations out there like the 5-cent coin, the dollar coin. There's a number of fascinating dollar coins that have been produced over the years that are comparatively much more affordable. So perhaps consider the other options in collecting if you're finding this particular release to be a little overwhelming, which I honestly wouldn't blame you for. As a small-time dealer, I haven't been a dealer per se for very long, but there were releases when I was managing coin shops that were it caused a lot of stress sometimes when you'd have so many people calling and emailing nonstop, and then having to deal with people that were really upset and disappointed and things like that. As you'd expect in any type of industry, any time you have collectibles or things that potentially grow in price over a short period of time, there are a number of people that come out of the woodwork that are not collectors and not interested in the hobby at all, understandably, and I don't blame them. There are people who just want to make money. There's nothing wrong with that either. It's incredibly frustrating when your objective is to serve genuine collectors, but the reality is there are people who just want to make money, whether it's on coins or shoes or whatever hot releases out there that they know there will be demand for. And that's just a reality of the industry. I don't actually remember what my point was now. I'm getting a little off topic. Okay, I remember the point that I was trying to make. It was, don't stop collecting. Please, I really, really encourage you, don't give up on collecting. It's such a rewarding and enjoyable hobby, and releases like this can occasionally, unfortunately, deter some people from sticking at it. I understand and appreciate that it can be disheartening when you feel like you can no longer complete a collection, but there are so many fascinating areas of collecting that you can explore, such as other denominations. You know, maybe you want to get into 5-cent collecting, something more manageable, or there are really interesting $1 coins if you delve a little deeper into that area. And if you want to be like me, go right down the rabbit hole. Start looking at things like florins, go further back, and there are so many interesting things. There are even coins with low mintages of this sort of volume that you can get your hands on for comparatively really cheap prices. So keep doing research, keep learning about the hobby, and just make sure you're enjoying the process, because I can fully appreciate that there are times like these where it can all get a little bit stressful. So my thoughts on the coin are, I'm a little underwhelmed. I've seen the poppy already, and something that I think is worth noting and important to be mindful of is that the red poppy was originally produced and being distributed through RSLs. So it was relating directly to Remembrance Day, and that was a big part of it. And I think it's a little tacky almost to now see these coins and just think of dollar signs. I think it's lost all of its original intended meaning, and it's at a point now where, yeah, people see these coins and they just think of money, and I think that's quite far removed from its original intention, which was the amount, I believe, above and beyond the $2 face value of $10 that the coins were originally being sold for, served as a donation to the RSLs. So I think that's something that perhaps should be taken into consideration, that it's sort of lost its meaning. And I don't know if I'm alone in that. Maybe everyone that does, or a lot of people see these coins and do still think of the original intended meaning, and, you know, have a bit of quiet contemplation about you know, what the original meaning was. But I think a lot of people have just become swept up in the hype of collecting, and it's lost a lot of its meaning. So I think that's something to be mindful of as well. It sort of lost its way, I guess you might say. Yeah. The other thing I would do is, in order to cap off what is effectively now the 10th anniversary of coloured $2 coin collecting in Australia, it might have been nice to produce, and this is just one guy's idea, I would have liked to have seen a large coin, maybe a 2 ounce, maybe even a 5 ounce coin, a silver proof coin with all of the colours that have been done over the years on the coloured $2 coins. Maybe give a circle for each of them and have a large planchet, so a large coin with all of those colours referenced on them, and then it could have a $2 face value, and it could serve as the 10th anniversary coloured $2 coin, and you have it on a big fancy coin that you can put up and display in your collection nicely. Yeah. What do you think? Is that a good idea or a bad idea? Because it wouldn't actually be a conventional $2 coin. It could be a large one. I think I'm starting to waffle now, but I think this is an interesting, we're at a fascinating time in coin collecting for Australian coins. I would love to know your opinions. What do you think of the coin? Has it lost its meaning? Is it something that you'll be trying to get your hands on? What do you think about the future of coloured $2 coin collecting? Is it something that you'll continue to do in the future, or is it something that might taper off a little? I'll be watching the market, and I'll be happy to give my thoughts along the way. As I said earlier, I don't think this will have any major price impact one way or the other on the pre-existing poppy market, but geez, it's a big release and a fascinating time to be in the industry. So let me know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate you stopping by the channel. Please subscribe if you like these videos and if you want to continue to learn more about Australian coin collecting. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.